I had very recently posted about my participation in one of the launch programs of NISHTHA in Chhattisgarh. I also received a lot of messages from my friends asking me to explain more about NISHTHA. So I thought I'll make a quick video around NISHTHA and share with you. Before we talk about NISHTHA, let's take one step back. If you do a small recap, you would remember that the MHRD had recently released this so-called draft NEP, National Education Policy. Right? This NEP became a subject of great discussion and debate across the length and breadth of the country. Well, in this video, I'm not going to talk about the NEP, but rather one of the core issues that emerged out of the NEP. So one of the core issues that emerged was a need for strong professional development for teachers, right? Teachers, being the very backbone of the education system of the country, need certain kind of training and very frequently, and that too in effective manner. So that was one highlight of the NEP. If you're working for any private sector organization or any company for that matter, you would be undergoing a lot of training programs throughout the year to basically help you improve your skill set to perform your work better, right? So even teachers are employees just like you and me, and they also have certain fundamental requirements of upgrading their knowledge so that they can perform better in the classrooms, right? The very fact we all know, we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, so many different new age technologies. But unfortunately, in the classrooms, what is happening? Basically, students are still doing rote learning. They are being evaluated on the basis of what they reproduce in the examination of what they have learned in classrooms, right? So this is a very sad fact. So there's no point talking about a problem unless we focus on the solution, right? So this is what MHRD also did. MHRD basically partnered with a lot of organizations, international and the national organizations, and came up with a lot of training modules. And the idea was to promote and inculcate a sense of learning among the teaching fraternity so that they could emulate this learning within the classroom, so that the learning pedagogy, the leadership skill sets, right? So all of these issues could be addressed and the student can ultimately achieve a holistic development in terms of learning. So now let's talk about NISHTHA. What is NISHTHA? NISHTHA stands for National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers Holistic Advancement, right? So far the training programs have been conducted in a very isolated manner. I mean, you would have training programs being conducted for teachers separately, you would have training programs conducted for headmasters separately. So there was no interconnection between the way these training programs were organized. Through NISHTHA, basically this problem is being addressed. Now teachers and administrators are not two different players, right? They are players within a similar or same ecosystem, and they are catering to one set of audience, that is the students, right? The idea is to integrate different stakeholders well within the education ecosystem so that they can provide or they can work together in an effective manner so that the child's holistic development happens over the time. So now let's understand how this NISHTHA program has been structured. So if you actually look at it, NISHTHA has been broadly classified into three categories, right? The entire training program. The first category focuses on generic issues, right? These are the modules which addresses certain generic issues which are faced by teachers and headmasters together in a school, right? Second category of modules focuses on certain pedagogical issues. The third set of modules focuses on the leadership issues, which are actually fundamental requirement for any head of the school or even for classroom management for a teacher. So now let's delve deeper into these broad categories so we have a fair understanding of what these modules aim to do with the teachers and the headmasters of the school. The first module is about curriculum, learner-centered pedagogy, learning outcome, and inclusive education. This module aims to equip a teacher or the head of the school to better face the various requirements of a student, right? And the idea is to bring oneness and an inclusive sort of environment within the school and help a teacher and headmaster to focus more on the learning outcome based curriculum. The second set of module talks about improving social personal qualities and creating healthy and safe school environment. The third set of module talks about art integrated learning, how art can be integrated as a medium of learning for students. The fourth set of module talks about school-based assessment. So we all know how students are actually subjected to rote learning in classrooms when they are studying, and once they graduate they have to face real life situations which require higher order thinking skills. So the idea is to inculcate or promote these kind of higher order thinking skills, what we call as HOTS, right from the very school itself. And this can be actually done through a 360-degree assessment in the school, which will actually take care of the entire holistic advancement of the child, right? So this is the idea behind this module, and there are many more details which are actually given in this particular module, which you can go through on the website. And the fifth module talks about health and well-being of schools, right? It is very important to see how the students can actually keep themselves fit, right? And going by the standard, I am thinking that sooner or later MHRD will also come out with certain indices to measure how fit the schools are based on the health indicators of students. Module number 6 talks about integration of ICT in learning and teaching as well as assessment. So we have seen how quickly the world is getting smarter with the smartphones, right? So it's also important that this digital age also touches education, which is why this module has been created, so as to see how best we can tap technology and bring learning into classroom and also take learning outside the classroom. The module number 7 talks about initiatives in school education. So there are so many different initiatives, best practices which are happening across the country, and the idea is to emulate this learning to all the teachers so that they can also practice them and scale it across the country. Now we come to the second category of modules, that is the modules addressing the pedagogical concerns. Now again, these modules are designed keeping in mind all the different subjects, right? So when we talk about subjects, we have got EVS, we have got science, we have got social science, we have got language, we have got mathematics. So addressing all of the core pedagogical issues, these modules have been developed under the NISHTHA module. And finally, we have the third category of module, which are actually addressing core leadership issues. And these modules essentially help the school head to make sure that the administrative functionaries are carried out without any problem. Well, this is about the structure of NISHTHA. And an important thing that you should also know is that this is one of the world's largest integrated teacher training program. Yes, one of the largest, because about 42 lakh teachers are going to get trained through this in a very uniform manner. So I think this is a very good move forward in terms of building in quality in education. And I think it is time now that the teachers actually focus more on improving the learning outcomes for a student, and the students also shift away from rote learning to learning from their environment and focus more on how they can actually utilize their learning in day-to-day life scenarios. And teachers will actually find it quite useful for not only improving the performance of students, acting as counselors, but also improve themselves, because this is a chance for them to self-introspect and see what are the areas where they are lagging behind and improve and work on those areas. So I think this is a monumental period for us, because in the coming few years we are hoping to see some great reformations happening in an education sector, and the teacher being a very important part, or let's say a fulcrum in this entire program, has a very important role to play. So let's hope that NISHTHA is successful and the teachers are also able to perform and deliver their best. Thank you.